Hi there, I'm Daniela. Welcome to a space created for women struggling with their breast implants or have already said goodbye to them, just like we did.
And I'm Michelle. We're so glad you're here. Together, we're supporting a community of courageous women redefining beauty and confidence.
The Breast Implant Breakout Podcast
Starts now.
Hello, welcome to Breast Implant Breakout Podcast, to our new episode. How are you doing, Michi?
I'm doing great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes.
Danny, thanks for being here with me to have this great conversation, another episode. So good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And for those who have not met us yet before, this is the first time that you're watching this podcast. My name is Michelle. I go by Michi.
And I'm Daniela, and I go by Dani. And I'm so excited today because I know that we have talked a little bit about this here and there in other episodes, but today we want to just dig deep into mental health and how to build a strong mind.
Exactly.
It's so
mental
important.
fortitude. That's the topic for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely want to dive into this because I was thinking that as you heal from this experience of removing your breast implants, or as you embrace the idea of removing them, being mentally strong is going to be one of the things that determines how well you heal and if you actually do the operation of removing your breast implants and if you're still on the fence. Considering yourself mentally strong is going to be the first thing that you will need. And if you think that you're still not there, we have some tips for you today. So stick around because it's going to be a good conversation. In my case, Danny, I think that when I think about anything related to the mind, awareness always comes to mind. Like, I think this awareness that we all possess is basically the eye that watches the mind, the inner eye, the third eye, you might call it, I don't know. But it's the eye, it's the internal awareness that we all have about our mind, meaning the thoughts that are constantly coming in and out of our consciousness. So if we have the awareness, we can have kind of like a step back and a way to reframe our ideas, our thoughts, and observe them, not identify with them, see which ones we want to keep around, which ones we need to discard. So for me, it all starts with awareness of the mind and of your thoughts.
Yeah.
How have you, in your experience with recently removing your breast implants, how have you nurtured and taken care of that mental strength and make sure that you're still, attacking the bad thoughts and keeping the good ones?
Yeah, you're going to have bad thoughts for sure. But I will say that I noticed that I came into this decision of removing my breast implants with a strong mind. I was determined. I was like, I'm doing this. I don't want them anymore, 100%. But the challenge is after you remove the breast implants to keep your mind strong, because you will have ups and downs when you feel, you have all this negative self-talk and all these negative feelings about, did I do the right thing? Oh my gosh.
Am I
why
as
would I do
pretty
this?
as I used to be? Am I as sexy as I used to be?
And all these things. So I will say that reframe your thinking. I was doing I put some notes here. And so reframe your thinking. Challenge negative self-talk and replace it with positive affirmations. And I have to do this because, like I said before, I was so determined when I say, yes, I'm doing this. And then right after I remove the implants, especially the first time I look at myself in the mirror and all these things. And after almost, I would say 3 months, almost 4 months, I still have days where I feel like, okay, am I happy with this? Yeah. And I'm like, am I happy with this? With the result, how I look like? No, 50-50.
Oh, but you look so great.
I know, thank you. I mean, I know, very humble, but like I know.
I think it's a good comeback to a compliment.
Look at this. I'm wearing my dress and, I have my pads, but here's the fight in my head. If I don't wear the pads, then like I have shared before, and I'm not ashamed of this, my nipple are fold in. So you can notice if I don't have anything. And I feel like I like the freedom of not having to wear a bra anymore, because I hate the bras before. And now I'm like, and now I cannot wear them. I mean, now I need them because I feel like you can see my nipples fold in, and it kind of like suck in the clothes. I don't know how to explain, but it's like
No.
it happens.
I mean, maybe a lot of people watching are kind of understanding what you're talking about, because maybe they also had their first surgery around the areola, right? That's
Yeah.
the name. And so all that becomes scar tissue after they remove the implant. So you might not be alone in this path. I'm sure you're not, Danny. But the thing is to remind yourself that before you were also wearing pads, except they were permanent pads. So
Bigger pads.
yeah, and way bigger and a lot riskier and expensive. And they required this maintenance that was, a lot of money going into it every
know.
10, 15 years. So think about how easy it is that you now can have access to shaping your breasts as you want, as you please, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to worry about the surgeries. I mean, the point is not to say, hey, now you're flat and you have to accept it as is. No, I am also wearing pads today. And those are the little tricks that we can keep on using so that we don't focus so much on the body.
But here's another fight that you can have with yourself, and this just happened coming here today, and I share it with you in the car. I have family in my house. My aunt is awesome. I love her. I know she has the best intentions, but she saw me coming out of the bathroom wearing my dress, and she say, "Oh, you're not gonna wear any pads or anything? You don't have anything." And I'm like, this is what the podcast is about, this embracing my new body. So I didn't say
I'm sorry,
anything.
I'm laughing at you. You have so much expression in your face.
I didn't get offended by it, but I was like, oh my gosh, like this is coming from family. Imagine from strangers. So I thought, I'm not letting this get me. But still, I ran in the bathroom and I came back and I put the pads, and I'm like, it does look better. And I know that she didn't mean to, hurt my feelings. But I thought these little things is the things that can hurt people's feelings and make people feel like, oh my gosh, why would I do this? Now people is going to notice. And she say, I don't have anything. And so I'm like, well, if I have too much, she will say, oh my gosh, you need to cover, you're showing too much.
Yeah.
And now it was the same, but like, well, you don't have anything. Are you not gonna wear any pads? And I'm like, oh, geez, like, come on.
Well, remember what we mentioned. Your aunt is from a different generation. I think the younger generations, or people in general that are trying to embrace new philosophies and new ways of looking at ourselves and the world, we are a lot more conscious of the fact that you should not be commenting on people's bodies. However, with our families, I think we kind of have the tendency of thinking those rules don't apply, and we get to say, oh, have you lost some weight, or have you gained some weight? We always do that with family. So we're gonna have to forgive family members for mentioning anything. Some people are right on board with not talking about other people's bodies, and some are still transitioning to learning that's not okay anymore, or at least we should try. And if it's going to be a comment, have it be a positive one, I think.
That's when I want to tell you, do not let people's comment get you, because you look amazing the way you are. And that's the moment that you have to realize, hey, no, I'm not letting this bother me.
Totally. And it won't bother you if it truly doesn't bother you. If inside you have done the work to tell yourself, I am happy the way that I am. I am okay with wearing pads outside of my body. I don't have to bring him inside, like we have said so many times. So you feeling good about your decision is the most important thing. Yeah. And I think that that's the way to kind of build a shield against other people's opinions, whether they come through family members or people online.
Whether it has a good intention behind or not.
Totally. Or it's from your own mind and your thoughts, right? Sometimes we can have these intrusive thoughts, even though we have worked so hard on creating a new identity. We can always experience negative, intrusive thinking, and we can always say like, oof, you don't belong here anymore, so sorry, excuse me, doors that way, you can leave, because this is my garden that I tend to, and I only keep the beautiful thoughts.
Yeah, and that's
also the beautiful opinions from others.
And I think that's the right time to share something about having boundaries and learn how to say no. So sometimes it's okay if you say no to somebody else, to yourself. Like, no, I'm not allowing myself to feel hurt by this. I'm not allowing myself to feel negative or regret this decision. I need to be consistent and determined with my decision to remove my breast implants, because look what I gain, my health.
Yeah.
Priceless.
Exactly. What better than that? Our health is everything.
Yes.
And if we do anything, we've mentioned it here on this podcast, let it be something that brings you to a closer version of your most ideal healthy version, or healthy self, I should say. But around boundaries, I think this is such an important topic. Sometimes it's not enough with saying people, well, that's just your opinion. Sometimes we have to remove ourselves from certain circles, from certain people, even if that means certain family members, because we can't be dealing constantly with the fact that, you launch at me all these negative comments, and now I have to fend for myself and try to make them okay in my heart and in my mind. It's a lot of work that I have to do after I spend some time with you. So boundaries are there to prevent you from having to experience those negative emotions and then have to do the healing on your own and the cleanup on your own when they're no longer
not my
there.
case though, if she's listening or my family is listening, not about her. But I do think depend of how I think depend of how the intention behind, because like I said, she came with her good intentions, and she has no idea that maybe in my head that could affect me a little bit and make me feel self-conscious. But if you have family members or friends or people that is just throwing negative, toxic comments, remove them. That's it, because you're in a healing process and you only need people around you that is uplifting you and not people that is just throwing garbage at you.
I agree. And then the hardest thing is to remove those negative thoughts and garbage that is from within you, right? Like that is so
the hardest
hard.
one.
And Dani, I've thought about this years ago, maybe because I read this book from Eckhart Tolle called A New World, which I highly recommend you guys read that book. It's such a beautiful dive into what the ego is and the pain body. And for people who are interested in spiritual growth, I highly recommend this book. But he talks about the fact that we have what could be considered psychic psychic parasites, he calls it. And I always think about psychic parasites when I'm having intrusive negative thinking. I'm like, ew, parasites want to feed. I'm like, get out here. I'm not going to feed you, because they're coming out to feed. Those negative thought patterns that we have within us are going to fight for their lives, and they want to be fed, and any trigger, any opportunity is great for them to come and feast. And we have to stop feeding the mental parasites. And the way that we do it is by culturing awareness. Like we were saying, it's so important that you become aware of the content of your mind so that you can select the parasites, or you can recognize them when they come over, and you can say, out you go, no more here in this house. Another thought that has really helped me, or kind of an analogy, is to think about my thoughts as a passing train, and I choose which train I want to hop on. I'm like, oh, this one's going to a really happy place. Definitely, let's go there. Or when I see a thought that is just a negative thought pattern that I've had many times before, I'm like, ooh, that thought, I know where it goes and I don't like it there, so I'm not going to hop on it. And I try to visualize that negative thought as just passing through my head, and I say goodbye. Yeah, remember how you made me feel last time? Nope, I'm not going to spend time with you. I'm not going to hop on that train. So try to find your own way of how to really tend to your inner garden and those thoughts. Like, how do you prevent the parasites, the mental parasites, from attacking you? Because the biggest critics are going to always be our own thinking, our own thoughts, right?
I agree. And I think that's what I like, this thing that I took a note to: develop a growth mindset, embrace challenges, and view failures as opportunities to grow. And some people might say, I don't think I failed by doing this. I think somehow I failed to myself by doing this to my body.
In the first place, like
in the first place when
implants?
when I got the implant.
And that's how you perceive it, you, Dani,
yeah,
right?
that's me, Daniela. Some people might not. That's okay. I respect it. I'm saying I see it as I failed to myself, because why would I put my health in risk? Because I was immature, because a lot of things that we have talked about in other episodes. But I see it as an opportunity to grow. What this experience brought into my life, I'm growing out of this. And it brought me a lot of opportunities. One of these is doing this podcast with an incredible woman like you.
Oh,
and I never thought I
likewise.
would be here. And I get to share now my story with everyone, whoever is going to listen to this podcast or watch this podcast around the world. So it's helping me grow and helping me know that, all the things we have mentioned before, that the physical side of how you look like is not as important, and this and that. When I spent 20 years thinking that was very important, and maybe even more important than anything else.
Yeah.
So I have grown a lot through this experience.
Yeah.
So
And definitely anytime we go through hardships, the ideal experience of it after we go through it is to say, goodness gracious, what a big lesson I just went through. And look at all this knowledge, all this new wisdom, all this mental strength that I've gained from the experience. You kind of end up thanking it, right? You're like, thank you. I needed that, I guess. I didn't know that I needed it to be that bad. But here I am. I survived it. And that proves that I am stronger than I thought I was.
yeah, and as long as you remember and practice gratitude, and I'm sure that you hear this many times in podcasts and everywhere, like it's important to practice gratitude. Why? Because that just reminds you the things that you actually can embrace. So I'm grateful for my health. I don't know if you're going through something. I hope you're not. And if you are, you still can find something to be grateful in life, whether it's your
Absolutely.
family, your home, it could be anything. So as long as you always change that and say, I'm grateful for this. Yeah, I might not look the same, but I'm grateful that I feel healthier. And, I'm grateful. I mean, I don't know. Summer is coming up soon and I'm already freaking out. Like, how am I going to look in bikinis? Like, I don't even know. I used to
Don't
be
even
so
worry about
confident
it.
and I'm like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I'll see, and we'll see later. I'm not going to worry about that yet now. But when the time comes, and still I'm grateful. I'm like, I really feel so good. I
Good.
really feel so good. I feel, I can explain. Only the people that has removed their breast implants can relate to me and say, hey, sister, I know how you feel. You do
Exactly.
feel awesome.
You do. And especially knowing that you took a very courageous decision. Like, this is not easy for women who we have received the message from the media and from, our community socially. We have been told you have to look a certain way. You have to look beautiful, sexy, attractive, and youthful for the rest of your life. Don't you get old. Don't you get saggy. Everything needs to be in its right place. So we have been raised with all these beauty ideals that we feel like we must maintain forever and ever. Even if we're 80, we should look like we're 30. Like, it's crazy, really. And I feel like, I don't know, I constantly remind myself that doing something like this is so deeply empowering for women to remove our breast implants.
Totally.
That it almost feels like it's part of a feminist movement. At least in my view, I feel like, oh yeah, I'm saying, no, this is how I like myself and I don't need no more surgeries. And goodness gracious, I hope I get to age gracefully, meaning accepting all the wrinkles and everything that will show up with time. And it's already happening. And I'm like, oof, thankfully it's just one little line at a time so that I can manage it, because it is hard.
Yeah. And
we have so much pressure as women to age. Like,
And-
it's
and
not
I-
happening.
I will give you a little tip if you're married or maybe you have somebody, a significant one in your life. I make jokes about it. I found out that making jokes
Like
about this.
self-deprecating jokes, like,
Yeah,
oh,
like I tell my husband, like, remember this dress? He says that. I hope it doesn't sound bad. I hope this is not talking bad about him, but he's like,
we'll be the judge of it.
he's like, oh, where are they? And I'm like, gone. It's okay. And then I change again another day, and I'm on purpose. I will say, hey, honey, look. He's like, oh, where are they? And I'm like, gone. So it's just a joke, an inside joke between us.
That's funny.
But laugh is the best remedy.
Oh,
anyway.
for sure.
So I'll just make it about making fun of it in a healthy way, not being offensive. But it's kind of like helped me a lot to build that. And he comes and give me a hug and say, I love it anyway. I mean, I love you. You look beautiful. Doesn't matter. But we
Exactly.
make little jokes like that.
It's so funny. I feel like we're getting super intimate, but I do kind of the opposite joke with my husband. I'm like, oh yeah, these are so big, right? And like, obviously they're not. So I
okay.
also joke about it, but in my mind, I still have my implants, I guess, or natural, beautiful boobs that grew. Anyway, what we really want to make sure that you guys take away from this podcast, this short episode, is the fact that you need to become mindful of your thoughts. If you don't like people mentioning anything about your body and making comments, whether it be slightly rude or completely negative and absolutely rude, then imagine how much more we are hearing that internal voice that could also be making that criticism. We don't like that. So don't let the mind identify with those thoughts, ladies. That's my biggest message here is if you have intrusive negative thinking, think about it as a psychic parasite. Don't let it ruminate in your mind. Take it out. Don't hop on that train. Let it just pass by in your mind as a cloud would on the sky.
And I will say, if you remember when you put the breast implants in, it was even harder. I remember I have to massage them and go one side and then the other way, and then do this and then put a band like to pressure these, like, how do you say it? Like
lay on
them down, because if not, they will come all the way up here. You have to do a lot of things. So taking them out is definitely easier. The problem is just right here.
Yes.
And that's where you need to be strong and reframe your thinking. Mm-hmm. You're beautiful, you look awesome, and remember the why. Remember your why. Every time you forget, just remember, what's my why? Why would I do this? This and this and this and that. That's your why. And then you can lift yourself up. So
I agree with that 100%. So also, another last little thing is that you are way more than your body. You're the mind, the beautiful mind that you have, the awareness that observes the mind. You go beyond this body, girl, people in general watching us. So anyway, consider that as well. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode, and we surely hope to see you again on our next one.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Breast Implant Breakup, and to give us a thumb up when you watch the video if you enjoy it, and put in the comments whatever you're feeling about it and how you feel. And until the next episode.
That's right. Take care.